You're watching Tea and Poetry with Dave Steele, the blind poet.
There we go.
How are you?
Tired.
Tired?
Very tired.
Did you wake up early this morning?
I was up at 4 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
4 a.m. and out the door just after 5. It's like I've spent the day with you.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I'm going to, because I mentioned to you earlier today when we spoke that I need to get myself into a Uber in a few minutes. What I'm going to do is what I want to do is continue with the process of bringing everyone over as a panelist with video on. Again, if you guys are comfortable with your video on, I encourage you to please keep it on. We definitely find it to be a lot more interactive for everyone. But again, if you're feeling shy and you don't want your video on, no problem. We'll always have opportunities for everyone to raise their hand and come and join the conversation. But for those who haven't been around for a couple of weeks or have missed a few episodes here and there, we've again just describe what we're doing. We bring everyone now into the group as a panelist and with video on, and it just makes it a more of a greater community. And as our good friend who was here with us this afternoon, Allison on the West Coast, calls us the tribe, and so we are continuously looking to strengthen the tribe. So gonna bring everyone over, and I can't wait to hear from Travis on how his NASCAR experience was. So I'm gonna bring everyone over now. So if you see the request to come over as a panelist, that is coming from us, and it's a legitimate request. Great group tonight. Oh wow, Derek, look at that. Cindy, so nice to see everyone. Dave, you're on mute, so I'm going to
yeah,
there you go. Oh, it's great to see everyone. And yeah, if you don't want to be on the panelist side, that's no problem. We respect that. Feel free to turn your videos on, guys. If you do want to come over and you're not on the panel side, raise your hand. I'll bring you over as well. It's great to see this international community that we have on hand. Someone looks really comfortable there in Sedona in the sun. I'm sure Amy's got some sunshine there as well in Florida. I am in Baltimore this week, so it's actually, I will lift up my webcam. It's actually pretty nice outside today. So it's actually the low 50s. Got a UPS truck there in the background. So yeah, it's good stuff. So for those of you who know the drill, you know what the next hour is going to be like. Always love having everyone here. If you're new, this is your first time, this is a place where you're going to hear incredible poetry. You're going to interact and get to hear from individuals throughout the world. And, we encourage everyone to interact, not to be shy, speak up, share your thoughts, share your opinions, and, sit back, relax. And I'm still on my morning coffee here. So if you have a coffee, if you have a drink, feel free to drink along. A couple people have just joined and maybe have not participated in the past couple of weeks. So I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record, but I do want to let everyone know that if you haven't participated recently, I'm going to send you a request to come over and be a panelist with your video on. That is, again, it is a legitimate request. If we encourage you to have your video on, as I said before, it makes this group, this tribe, more interactive. So I see the smile already on Allison's face. So you see what I'm saying? And it just makes it more interactive. Hey, Allison. So Dave, I'll let you take it away. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be on here for a few minutes, and then I'm going to disappear and then come back and be here with everyone.
Do you know what? I'm just kind of love like flicking through and seeing everyone's kind of smiling faces. Everyone wave. Let's have you all waving. I want to see everyone waving. That's great. We got a lot to cover this week. It's been a long day today. I'm going to tell you about my day, where I've been, what I've been doing. Had a really busy week. I just want to check with Barry. we have one major announcement. I think, are we allowed to make that a major announcement today?
I wouldn't give the details of what that's for, but I think you can officially announce the specific visit where you're going to be.
Okay. I'll announce it straight away. So I'm going to be speaking at an event, which we're not going to talk about any specific details, but I am going to be back over in America for a flying visit from the 31st of March to the 2nd of April.
The 3rd of
April. 3rd of April. And I will be in San Francisco.
As in, aka the Bay Area.
I will be in, more specifically, Half Moon Bay.
Yes, that is
Half Moon Bay. If anyone knows Half Moon Bay, or anyone has ever been to Half Moon Bay, you may know even where I'm staying in Half Moon Bay. But so it's going to be pretty cool. Literally a long weekend in San Francisco, speaking at a very cool event, which we'll be able to share more details with in the coming weeks. But more information on that to come. So aside from that,
by the way, that's hot off the press.
Yeah, really hot off the press. Really busy week. Some great poetry to share with you. And before Barry goes, I want to kind of see if I can squeeze the poem in.
I'm waiting for it.
This piece of poetry I wrote last Friday, and I've written a piece of poetry like this before. I've kind of used this idea before because I know it always gets a great reaction. And once again, I wrote this piece of poetry and posted it on my social media pages, and within just over 24 hours, it had over 20,000 views.
Nice.
And it's still being shared and comments keep coming in. You may have, for those people who are regular on TM Poetry, you will have heard me speak about this before because I have written another piece of poetry from this kind of angle. It is a piece of poetry written from the perspective of a mobility cane. So the poem is the mobility cane talking to us. So I want to share this with you now. Honestly, the reaction for all those people that have shared it and sent comments and messages about this piece of poetry, it's definitely had a massive impact. I have had so many messages this week from people around the world saying to me things like, I've not been using my cane enough and I'm going to use it more after reading this piece of poetry, or this piece of poetry has encouraged me to take mobility training and use a cane for the first time because it's really spoken to me and it's really inspired a lot of people. So for those people that are new to seeing poetry, we normally take notes, any little lines or feelings that stick out from when you hear the poem. For those of you that are regular, you know the drill. It goes like this. Here we go. You're not the only one who's felt embarrassed to be seen. Outside walking with me, this for many's always been a part of the whole process, as together we will train. But in time you will realize you'll soon be proud again. I'm made to give you back the things that you may feel you've lost, like pride and independence, all the things that blindness cost. I'm not a sign of weakness. I'm a reason to be proud. Alleviate anxiety when you are in a crowd. Sometimes I'm left behind or folded up inside your hand, but I'll be ready for you. I won't judge. I understand. I know these feelings natural. It's the way that people stare, but when you can still see some things, but for blindness you prepare. You don't need to see nothing to be able to use me. That's not the way that blindness works. It fades so differently. I'm here to be a symbol and a signal that you're strong, a reason not to isolate, a reason to belong. So when you're feeling ready, I'll be with you day or night. Unfold me, hold me confident, and swipe me left to right. Eventually you'll come to terms, our partnership remain. It's me and you forever. I am your mobility cane.
My favorite pieces. One of my favorite pieces. I can't wait to hear what there's a mobility cane behind me. It's got this really cool grip, and I don't know if it. Maybe some people can see it. Maybe some people will not be able to see it. It's back there in the corner. We're not going to reveal too much details about it, but I can't wait to hear what that mobility cane, how that's going to speak, and what kind of story that's going to share.
Say one thing before you get into your comments? Right now, we go week in, week out with Team Poetry, the tribe all together, listening to these pieces, and often you'll say how these pieces kind of are really impactful, and you said this one's one of your favorites. I really hate these pieces of poetry going to waste. I know they've already had a big impact, but I really see a piece like this being used as part of a video or a commercial for a mobility cane. And I think it's something we need to do.
Well, I know the right mobility cane, and
I do too.
Who was that? Who spoke?
Allison.
Thank you, Allison.
I love that. But
you
I
relate
know
to that, yeah?
Yeah.
Allison, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. How about you guys? I miss you all.
So great. We miss you as well.
So good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I am going to. I need to step out for a moment. So, Dave, I'm going to have you officially take over here. But I promise you guys, I'll be right back.
Sure.
So, Dave, you're in charge. I've officially made you the host.
Okay. Yeah. So. No, Allison, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And I really envision that, as you say, I can really, as I was reading it then, I can really kind of see, some images and video of someone using canes or various people using the canes and being used as a not just a video, I think, to kind of advertise a particular cane as such, but, for an organization that does mobility training. I think that would be a great kind of video to have.
I agree. I think there's a stigma that goes with the cane, and people don't know when to start utilizing a cane. It's better. I've heard so many people, and I have a guide dog. I'm a cane user, and I have Olga, my guide dog. But yeah. I have a friend who's just starting out, feeling somewhat comfortable using her cane. And she's been blind, low vision for like 15 years, and she hides it in her purse. But she used it this weekend. And this poem I want to send to her because, there was a line that said pride and independence.
Yes.
And it's so relatable. And I also wrote down, and now I can't even see what I wrote.
It's okay.
A reason not to isolate, right?
Yep.
I mean, I know you get it, and it's very important, and I would like to see this, attached with a marketing of some sort, with where you can buy canes. Ambutech is the company where I got my canes from.
Do you know? Actually, it's funny. When I was sharing it on various pages. Because I shared it on the usual kind of my social media and a few of the other pages that I kind of, post stuff regular. But I actually was looking for trying to find Ambutech's Facebook page. And for the life of me, I couldn't find it because I thought it would be great to kind of post it on there and get them to hear about it. Because, yeah, I think it's something that will really resonate with a lot of people that haven't heard my poetry yet. And you talk about lines. One of the ones that really stuck out for me on that was so when you're feeling ready, I'll be with you day or night. Unfold me, hold me confident, and swipe me left to right.
Right.
I smiled when I wrote that line because I think that's really important that people always say, and I think you agree, and we've spoken about this before on Tea and Poetry, that most people who are kind of confident with the canes now will always say, "Oh, I wish I'd have kind of done this sooner."
Yeah.
And I think it's important for those people who are at the beginning to kind of know that the cane speaking as it is in this poem, that it will be there for you when you're ready.
Yeah, and I think we all go through those phases. I remember being embarrassed and self-conscious when I was the first time, utilizing the cane, and being clumsy and not really know how to swipe from left to right. But the more you do it, you get more comfortable and confident. And we all started out somewhere, you know, and just having a conversation and reiterating back to how we felt. And, you know, hopefully we can help somebody else by telling our story and our journey, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
I know you've obviously not been on for a little while, but I've been speaking about it recently, how I've made that kind of final switch now of, it used to be the way where I was using my cane in places that I was unfamiliar or places where it was busy. But you know, if I was in a place where my eyes were feeling okay, I would have it folded up in my hand, ready to open it when I needed to, and I wouldn't use it very often if I was out with my family. I'd just hold a hand, and it got to the stage where actually holding my son or my wife's hand while I was out was becoming more of a stress and more of a burden, that now I'm at the stage now where my vision is that I'm taking it everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And actually the difference in kind of finally making that switch mentally in my head when I was ready for it, because as I said, as you rightly said, we all go through that process. But the difference now of the way I feel kind of having it with me all the time is night and day. It just feels so much better.
Yeah, it's empowering to own it. I mean, you know, you just have to do what's right for you, though. But for me, it's definitely been empowering to let go of utilizing, you know, my daughter if we're going to go out, or, you know, somebody's hand. It's just use my cane or my guide dog. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I think we often should talk about how it also helps get rid of the confusion sometimes. We talk about it, and we've all done it, and we hear people say how they struggle with misconceptions that are out there with regard to low vision and blindness. And, you know, we're kind of bumping into no cane.
Right.
So, you know, we're kind of adding to the misconceptions sometimes because, you know, it's impossible to tell. So, you know, actually when we do kind of make that leap and start using the cane more, it lessens those misconceptions, because people, and obviously we still get them when we're making eye contact to a certain degree, but you're always going to kind of get that with the lack of education. But it does kind of make more people aware, and they give you a bit more kind of space and you know, if you need it. So it's as much about letting other people know as it is kind of helping us.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, is there anyone else that'd like to chime in there? Dave, Sedona, Dave, do you want to unmute yourself and come in? I'd love you to come and join Alison and the conversation on that, and your thoughts, because I know you'll have thoughts on this piece of poetry.
Good evening, Dave. Yes, I do have.
Thank
thoughts. You. I've got lots of thoughts. I agree. It's by far my favorite poem.
Wow.
I identify with every line, and yeah, we've all, well, I can't say we've all, it's part of our world to experience this journey, you know, whether we're beginners or old hats at it. It's just something, it's our tool, and there are other tools, but it's I believe it's universal hand signal for like can't see. Before I forget, I've got a really amazing thought for a good landing place or a parking spot for this poem.
Okay.
If we'll chat. And as of course, I've got to say something about that elusive cane behind Barry's seat back there. If you know, if that could talk. And I was actually coming up with a haiku for what the ATC would say.
Yeah.
And it starts out, well, if I can, I'll try it, but this is very off the cuff. Hey, look, I'm still up. See, this is where I falls apart. I got the first 5 syllables. Hey, look, I'm still up.
Well, that's something that I could do for you. Is write that piece of poetry to go with the ACC, the all-terrain cane.
How interesting. How are you at haiku?
I would definitely do that for you, Dave. So for those people that are not aware that what the ATC is, Sedona Dave has designed an all-terrain cane, which is in the process of being ready for
Manufactured.
launch. Yeah, absolutely. So I think a piece of poetry similar to that, showing what it can do would be amazing, and I would certainly support that. And that is what we're all about here.
Such an interesting thing to wrap my brain around right now. It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
To be honest, and if I can drop a dime on myself, I haven't hit the trails in about a week. My boots have been very dust free for a week. Been very I got to show you something.
Let me so I can see you. Hang on a second. I need to scan to which screen.
I hope you can see that. That's my new pup.
Where?
He's under my seat. I'm sure I'm not focusing the camera just right.
I can't see.
I'm trying to find you actually. And there you are. There's that many people. Oh my God. Hello. I don't know if everyone's found the screen, Dave's screen yet, because there's so many up. He's trying to get used to these Zooms, but at the moment the closed captioning's over the pup on my screen.
Yeah, you got
coming back. But that's my little guy. He's 9.5 weeks old. And my world is all about play, babysit.
You're in puppy mode.
He's all about play, sleep. He's in sleep mode right now.
That's another tattoo right there, Dave.
Oh, and that's right. This is Allison. You might remember Griff. You're not with us anymore.
I do.
That's him on my arm to commemorate with my little buddy.
Oh, I can't see you.
I know. I'm in this glaring sun, and I have no idea what's visible anymore.
Figure out.
It's the way the screens are. Listen, I'm going to set everyone a task because I know there's people out there that are listening. I'm sure everyone who could relate to that piece of poetry has got an idea of where it can be used. So if you would like a copy of the poem, message me on social media or email me at dave@theblindpoet.net. and I will send you a copy of that poem. So you can either message me on social media or email me at dave@theblindpoet.net.
Okay. And
I will send you a copy of the poem. And if you think that poem could be used anywhere, send it, post it, share it. Send it to people who need to hear it. Send it to organizations, and let's see if we can get it out there. And have more of an impact with it, because that is exactly why I wrote it. Before we move on, I want to tell you about my day today, because I've had a bit of a long day. You probably see in my eyes how red they are, and I want to kind of go through my day today and where I've been and what I've been doing. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m. this morning. And I know a lot of people out there will relate to this. Whenever I am taking a journey, and Dave, we've spoke about this before, the mental preparation that goes on in your mind to just take a simple journey because of what it's like getting around, with low vision, going on a train or a plane or anything like that, is something that, really weighs on me. So even though my alarm was set for 5 a.m., I woke up at 4 a.m. and then knew I wasn't going to get back to sleep. So I got up and left the house at 5:15, went to the kind of what we call the Metrolink, so a tram station, literally about a 5-minute walk from where I am, to get the light rail tram into Manchester, and then an hour journey into a place called Doncaster, hour and 15 minutes journey to a place called Doncaster. When I got to the tram station at about 5:20, thinking I would get an earlier tram into Manchester, I realised that the trams weren't even on yet, and the first tram wasn't until 6 a.m. So I was in the pitch black. I put a video out on social media, waiting at the tram station for the first one at 6 a.m. Eventually got to Doncaster and was whisked in a car straight to a school where I was speaking for the first time since the book came out, in front of the whole school in two separate sessions, reading Austen's Amazing Adventures and speaking to the children there. And one of the reasons I wanted this school in particular to be the first school is because there is a young boy who is 8 years old, so the same age as Austen, called Jack, and he has RP. And his mum contacted me a while ago. I've been in touch with the family for a little while now and supporting them. But his mum contacted me when Austen's Amazing Adventures came out and asked if I'd be interested in coming to his school, especially as it being RP Awareness Month and Low Vision Awareness Month. And I agreed straight away. And we had a really amazing thing happen today, because Jack, who is 8 years old, even though a couple of his teachers know, and he has a mobility teacher there, had never told any of his friends or anyone else in the school that he has RP. And I was there today, and because I was there today speaking about Austen's Amazing Adventures and reading the book, Jack found the courage to stand there with me and tell the whole school that he has RP, which was an incredible moment. We have videos of it, which we are going to show at some point. And his mum was in tears, his teachers were in tears, and Jack was very, very nervous at the beginning, but by the time he'd done both sessions and spoke about it, he was super proud and very excited. And definitely I can see him growing in confidence and becoming someone in the future who inspires others. So I came up with an idea about a couple of weeks ago when I knew this was going to happen. And I want to announce now what we're going to do next week. So Tea and Poetry next week is going to be something that we've never, ever done before. And I'd love people's thoughts on this once I've announced it. So for those people that have followed me and followed Tea and Poetry for a while, you may know of a young lady who is on here regular from Texas by the name of Bailey Barnes, who is a singer, and she also works with children who have different challenges. And her nephew is a young boy called Braden. And I think Braden's about 12, 13 years old now, and he has RP. And I've been supporting their family for a few years now, and Braden is amazing. He's actually got his own YouTube channel, and he's interviewed me, and he's been on here and spoken in the past, and he's fantastic. And then there's also another young lady who is about 12, 13 now, who is very, very special to me by the name of Jackie Wilson. And she is from Amarillo in Texas, and she is incredible. And she first came to my attention when she was about 5 or 6 years old, and she was being bullied at school for using her cane. And I spoke to her, and we spoke on the phone a few times. And then when Stand By Me RP Volume 2 came out, my second book, I wrote a poem for her, called it Jackie, put it in the book without her knowing, and then sent her one of the first copies. And she went skipping into school, all excited that she was in a book. And when I was in America for my first USA book tour in 2019, I was speaking at the annual conference for NFB, the National Federation of the Blind, in Baltimore. And Jackie was surprised and brought by her family all the way from Amarillo in Texas to Baltimore. They'd never left the state before. And Jackie came to see me speak, and we met for the first time, and I got to sit with her and read a poem. We've always kept in touch. So You've got Jackie, you've got Braden, and now we've got Jack. So next week, we are going to do a children's special on tea and poetry, where we're going to get a little bit of a different perspective. So we're going to have 3 children who've never met, never spoken to each other, who all have RP. And we're also going to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, another young lady who is 13, who is the daughter of a good friend of mine from West Virginia called Barb Calhoun, who's another regular here on Tea and Poetry, who doesn't have any low vision, but she is the child of someone who has Usher syndrome and can give a really different perspective. So next week it's going to be really, really interesting, because we're going to have these amazing kids on interacting with each other and interacting with us. And it'd be great to kind of encourage them, show them support, and obviously I'm sure they're going to have questions for us, and I think we'll have a few questions for them as well. So I'd love your thoughts on that one.
I think that's
Dave?
great.
Oh yeah, sorry, Alison. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I just think that's great. You're empowering these kids. I wish I had that when I was young. I was bullied, and I went through school, not having that. So I think this is great. It's amazing.
That's what Austin's Amazing Adventures is all about.
Yep.
So it's about empowering kids and showing them that they're not alone, and that it's not just about blindness and low vision, but about different challenges in general. Because as I said, with the future books, Alison, the characters within the stories are going to have things like autism and ADHD and wheelchair use and all these different things that we're going to normalize through the poetry and give these children characters to relate to. So it's something that's really a focus of mine at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Today, when we were at the school, we had that amazing moment with Jack.
Yeah.
At the end of both sessions, we did a kind of a Q&A with the kids. And at the back of Austin's Amazing Adventures, there's this section called Talking Points. And it's basically open-ended questions that encourages the conversation about blindness and low vision. And it asks questions like, how could we help someone in our school who was losing the sight like Austin? Things like that, to get them talking. And some of the answers that the kids were giving was just incredible. But there was one particular one that stuck out for me. And I really want you to imagine what this was like being there when this was spoken about. So one of the questions in the book was, have you ever been worried about something, or felt worried about something that was out of your control? That's one of the questions at the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And a little boy called Charlie, who was about 7, 8 years old, put his hand up, and he said, I'm really worried about money. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, my mum and dad are really, really struggling. And he said that in front of all his friends. And honestly, you could see the teachers breaking their hearts when he said it. And I remember saying, I said to him, I completely understand. I said, with the pandemic and COVID, how it's been the last couple of years, I think a lot of families are really, really struggling financially. And as much as mums and dads and parents don't want our children to worry about these things and don't want and want to protect them from it, it does happen, and it's natural for you to pick up on things and be worried about it. But one thing I will tell you is that from my experience, that as far as money's concerned, you can only ever do what you can do, and things will get easier. And I hope, that kind of helps. But to hear, a young boy of 7 or 8 years old talking about something like that, just shows you how these kids are impacted by everything that kind of goes on around them. So having children like Braden and Jackie and obviously Jack, they're showing them this kind of level of strength that, despite any kind of challenges, you can still do incredible things is something that is really important, and it really drives me on to do that more with it, especially with these books.
Yeah, good job. I mean, that's a great. It's touching. You know, it's the vulnerability in a little kid, and you know, it's more inclusive now. So that's sweet, and it's special that he felt safe amongst his peers to say that. You know, and it wasn't even about the topic, but he just spoke what he was feeling. He felt safe. You know?
It's a massive thing. I think one of the things we spoke about today as well, which it's funny, I didn't even plan on speaking about this, but it just came up with one of the questions, was, you know, talking about how sometimes, and it's not just kids that feel like this, we all feel like this and have felt like this at times. We feel embarrassed sometimes to ask for help.
Yeah.
We feel that if we're asking for help, it's a sign of weakness, when actually, you know, we talk about the cane right from the beginning. Asking for help and using these things like mobility canes is not a sign of weakness. It's a great sign of strength, that we're willing to do whatever we need to do in order for us to live our lives to the skin. You know, the kids, you know, have they ever, they were afraid to ask their teacher for help, because they didn't want to be seen as failing, or even the teachers put their hands up, because I think we it's natural to kind of feel that way. But if we can just kind of get past that, it's actually a great kind of strength.
Yeah.
Dave, still? Yeah, he's muted. That's fine. Is there anyone else that wants to come in and kind of chime in with the conversation? Please, you know, if you do, unmute yourself and speak up now.
Yeah. I want to say everyone has the ability, I believe, to unmute themselves and join the conversation. So I'm going to stop speaking. If you're in the group as a panelist now, which most of you are, you can speak up.
Yeah.
I think it's really, hiya, everyone.
Hi, Bambi, how you doing?
Hiya. Yeah, good, thanks. I saw that picture you took with Jack today. It was lovely. I think it's really important that we get these things in early. You know, I'm a coordinator of special needs in school, but for teenagers, and we always talk about early intervention. Well, I work with children who are 11 to 16, 18 years old, and 11 is not necessarily early if they've been living with a disability for the last 10 years, you know, before they get to me. So yeah, anything we can do to kind of get this message into them as early as possible. I mean, early is at the point where they start to lose their sight, isn't it? And they can at any age. But if there's a 4 or 5 year old, then actually educating them and educating their peers about what it's going to be like and how they can be supported is going to be much better than waiting another 6 years before they get older. You know, we want to educate, and less of the re-education, more of this, the education right at the beginning, I think is going to be really important. And the poem that you read at the beginning obviously resonated with me, Dave, because, you know, I do not use cane, and I just walk around and expect people to know.
We spoke about this.
Yeah, we did. I'm working on it, don't worry. But that's definitely, you know, the contrast between being embarrassed to be seen and then having pride in using the cane also put me in mind of teenagers, and where this poem could be used in terms of supporting children of that age, you know, who generally are embarrassed to be seen anyway. If you haven't got a disability, you're just embarrassed because being a teenager is fairly embarrassing, isn't it? But then if you've got a disability on top of that, it's like double. So yeah, just thinking about where it can be used, definitely in high schools. And
please do. That's exactly why. It's funny how you picked up on that line. That's exactly why. I want to read the poem one more time, because that's exactly why I opened it with that line about being embarrassed. Because embarrassed is quite a strong word, and it just sets the tone of actually that it's perfectly, you know, that we all have felt like that. You know, it is the norm to feel embarrassed by it, and I think that, you know, we don't need to pussyfoot around saying that. So let me read it one more time. You're not the only one who's felt embarrassed to be seen. Outside walking with me, this for many's always been a part of the whole process, as together we will train. But in time you will realize you'll soon be proud again. I'm made to give you back the things that you may feel you've lost, like pride and independence, all the things that blindness cost. I'm not a sign of weakness, I'm a reason to be proud. Alleviate anxiety when you are in a crowd. Sometimes I'm left behind or folded up inside your hand, but I'll be ready for you. I won't judge, I understand. I know these things natural. It's the way that people stare when you can still see some things, but for blindness you prepare. You don't need to see nothing to be able to use me. That's not the way that blindness works. It fades so differently. I'm here to be a symbol and a signal that you're strong, a reason not to isolate, a reason to belong. So when you feel you're ready, I'll be with you day or night. Unfold me, hold me confident, and swipe me left to right. Eventually you'll come to terms, our partnership remain. It's me and you forever. I am your mobility cane. Yeah. So use it, please. You know, everyone on the call, if you can, you know, if you want the poem, I'll send it to you. Share it, use it. You know, send it to people who, you know, organizations that you think might use it. And if anyone wants to approach me and use it in any different ways, then let's talk about that. So yeah, I want to share another piece of poetry with you. And once again, this is another one that had a lot of views this week. And it's on the same kind of lines, actually. I think this has been a bit of a theme with me recently. Maybe it's about where I'm at. I want to tell you a little story. I'll even give you an update, actually. For those people that have been on, this is really strange as well. This is how kind of things happen with me, and it's not the first time this has happened. So anyone that's been on Team Poetry the last couple of weeks have probably heard me talk about someone that I was helping and supporting off social media. It was a lady who had put a video on one of the RP pages a couple of weeks ago now about her having to hand back a license because she was at that stage, and how it was having a massive impact on her, and she was struggling with anxiety and depression. She didn't know where to start. And I reached out to her and we started speaking on the phone every day and sending messages as a way of me kind of pointing her in the right direction and showing her that she wasn't alone and trying to help. Anyway, she went through a whole process. I was getting, you know, she was one of these that would, she sends, rather than kind of voice text or typing, she'll send short little videos. And she trusted me enough to send videos of when she was really, you know, kind of lost and upset and crying and, you know, struggling to pick herself back up. And I do everything that I can to kind of do that. But she sent me a message yesterday, I think. And she's got a license back. They retested her and she's now back driving. So I don't know, you know, she kind of went through the whole process of going through this whole loss thing and coming to terms and accepting, and they've retested her. So she's had this big kind of like release of, you know, not as bad as it was, but also she's gone through a process of in the near future as well. And this is just happening. Someone actually contacted me, similar to Derek, actually, who's on the call at the moment. Who someone contacted me saying that basically they'd been for an optician's appointment and was told that they had RP, and they started looking into RP. And they came to me for advice, and I kind of spoke to her for a few. It wasn't RP whatsoever, and it was something that they could resolve fairly quickly. So that was released. But it got me thinking these kind of conversations about actually how we adapt as people through this process. How the things that we go through that, you know, one day or one period will seem like the end of the world, and somehow, as is the human condition, we find a way to adapt, and actually it's not as scary as it first was. And that's something that I spoke about with the children today at school, that actually, you know, nothing that we do in life is as scary as we first think it's going to be. And that's something that's really important to remember going forward. So we are almost coming to the end of Tea and Poetry. We'll have some time for anyone else that wants to come in and speak.
Dave, we do have a couple hands that are up. Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah, well, I'm going to read this poem, and then we'll get some, you know, last people in. But this is called More a Life Than None, and I'd love thoughts on this one as well. Here we go. I'm not as sad about it as I was right at the start, when the thought of going blind quickly ripped my world apart. I gave up driving, lost my job, and fell into depression. But over time, these fears of mine have changed and they have lessened. This life is full of tests to make the best that we can be. Just happens to be mine that I'm not meant to clearly see. But I pay more attention with this little with the little that remains. I focus on life's beauty, not on darkness, scars, or pain. There's far too many moments that I have wasted staying in. Now, through my greatest challenges, I found my biggest win. I'm happier than ever, even though I'm not yet done. Still going blind, still living blind. Sorry, my eyes have gone at the end. I must be getting tired. I'll read that last line again. Still going blind, but living blind is more a life than none. There we go. So we got hands up.
Yes, there are a couple hands up. I'm going to, where did I see hands up? I saw Diane.
Diane, brilliant.
I'm allowing you to talk now.
Hello.
Hi, Diane.
Hi.
Fish and chips.
Hey, so fish and chips. And hi, Allison. Hi, Savannah, Dave. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hey. So Dave, when you were reading the poem about the cane, my mind immediately went to animation, a cartoon video for kids, little kids who are just starting to use a cane. And I mean, that to me would be, it would be a friendly way to introduce them to a cane with a little cartoon. And the cane could be named, get this one, ready? Moby Stick. A mobility cane.
I love that. Do you know what? Actually, you know, speaking on that, you know, I was thinking along those lines the other day. I think as well as that, I think actually a kind of small book or pamphlet, you know, to be used by mobility you know, trainers, things like that, you know, of you know, almost like a cartoon or comic or animated book with that in and little images. I think it'd be brilliant. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I was just, the whole time you're reading this poem, I'm just visualizing this cane with like little arms and legs, and
yeah,
you know,
love that. Love the name as well.
Friendly, friendly cane.
Come on, people, let's make this happen. I'm sure there's people out there that can connect us with anyone that can get that done. I know Barry's mind's probably churning at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Animators, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can get
talk
it done.
to Disney.
Add it to the list. Absolutely. Let's get Pixar on it.
Yeah. So cool. That's it. I thought it was a great poem. I really liked it.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, we got to bring on Travis. Travis, I'm going to unmute you right now. All right, everyone, buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up.
Travis, you're cleared for departure.
You are watching live team coverage right here, right now on Tea and Poetry TV, brought to you by the Low Vision Shop, located in Baltimore, Maryland and Miami, Florida. NASCAR. Get ready for Daytona 500 on Sunday, February the 20th. Valley Metro Transit, located in Phoenix, Arizona, and Maricopa County, and Sedona Seas Blind for Sedona Dave's Blind Tours.
Love that.
Right. How are you,
What-
Travis?
It's the voice for radio, aren't you, Travis? You just
Hey, doing great. How about you guys?
We are doing good. Your ears.
amazing.
No, Travis could be the voice of the cane.
He could be the
Dang.
voice of the
Ooh.
cane. He
Mhm.
could.
Oh, Travis.
Oh, he could. He totally could. Moby.
Yeah.
Moby.
Moby
Sick.
I
I about cracked up at that actually when you mentioned that a few minutes ago.
love that. I love that. This is, it's just too much of a good idea not to run with it.
I think go ahead, Travis.
And I see our friend Allison's on board
Travis,
today.
you there?
Hey, Travis.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. It's so
So,
good to hear your voice.
I would love for you, Travis, to tell everyone where you were this past weekend and to share the experience that you enjoyed.
Okay, everybody, I want to let you all know this past weekend, I was down in SoCal this weekend. I was at the NASCAR race.
Nice.
But explain to them where that race was and what they did and what made it so special.
Anyway, so the race, it was the Clash and the Clash NASCAR race. And it was at the LA Coliseum, for those who would like to know. And we had the qualifying, races last Saturday, and we, they had all the cars in the pits, in the garages, which we got to see. And Sunday was the big race day.
Big race day. But let's paint the picture a little bit more in more detail, because I think a lot of people here on this call are not familiar with the LA Coliseum. Maybe they're not familiar with NASCAR. Explain to everyone what they did to make this happen inside this arena, this stadium. It's an outdoor stadium, but explain to everyone.
So what they had to do to make it happen. So first of all, the LA Coliseum actually has been a well-known place besides, the racing and all, for many years, for a lot of things like concerts and certain sports events and everything. And I think it's right by USC, I believe. And it's like near the college campus. And what they had to do to make this race happen is they had to pave like the track. And the big question is, how was it going to, huh?
Yeah, well, let's go even further, because this is the Coliseum. This is like primarily used for football events, right? And other sporting events.
Football events, concerts, and of course, nighttime events, because the Coliseum does have stadium lights. You have to have that.
So basically, they had to put a racetrack inside a venue that typically doesn't have a racetrack inside there.
Wow.
Yes, because the Coliseum is used for the college football games, technically, and all the concerts. But this is the first time for a race event, and they had to pave it just like not too long ago.
Yep, they sure
fairly
did.
recently.
So they turned the whole place upside down to accommodate NASCAR racing.
Yes, they did. That is very true indeed.
And what was the experience for you as far as, with the cars and, going around? I mean, they didn't get too much speed on those cars, but you definitely, I'm sure those cars were loud.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, I got to see, it was neat. You get to see the cars in the pits, and you walk by when they had to do the lug nuts and work on the wheels and tires and everything, to work on the suspension when it goes through all the courses. And the best part is I got to feel the tires that were new and that were heavily worn. And race car tires are huge in diameter, as many of you know. And let me just tell you something else. Watching the race is excellent. I mean, not only do you get to feel the vibrating in your chest and all your joints, and the ground moving, the important thing is, because the noise decibels are super high, hearing protection is key.
It is. It's so key.
if you don't protect your hearing, you're probably going to pay the price.
I learned the hard way my first time.
Yeah, no, we had the commercial style earmuff style earplugs, the kind that people have to use like if they're landscaping or any construction sites, that kind. And that was a lot of fun. And of course, there was lots of great food. One of the foods I discovered was tortilla wrapped hot dogs, as a matter of fact, with jalapenos and everything. And there was, beer, of course, beverages, vodka soda. And the suite that we were in with our race, we were with Kyle Larson.
Oh, nice.
And Joey Logano won.
I know, Mr. Number 22. Number 22, that's my boy.
And I'll tell you something. I'm sure he was glad to be in California because, as we all know, the East Coast has been getting battered with that wicked cold snap last week and everything.
Yep. So it sounds like you had an incredible time. And like you said, if you like car racing, the season begins this coming. The season begins on the 20th in Daytona. So
right. Yeah, that is correct because this Sunday is the Super Bowl for those who need to know.
That is correct. Who are you going for, Travis?
I'm really not, sure to be honest with you, but we'll be watching it. My aunt's coming over, and how about you? Anybody in particular?
I'm gonna go for LA.
Yeah, maybe I'll probably do the same thing too. Since I was just in LA too, even though we didn't stay in LA, it was a great time. I'll go for LA though.
All right, that sounds good. All right,
and
place your bets.
Yes, and we stayed in Westlake Village, just to let you know. And we actually found 2 favorite restaurants that we liked for breakfast and dinner.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I'm so happy you had an opportunity to experience that. I know we're just coming up to the 5 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, and I want to just, if anyone else wants to jump on, please unmute yourself. And please
I'd like to say something.
Go for it.
I've been waiting. Yes, I'm Christina. I wanted to say today that's 2 lovely poems. I wish somebody was like him when I was growing up, putting stuff out like that and coming and talking to the classrooms. And are you going to have that a person that has CP in your book too for the kids?
That's a good question.
Dave?
Can you repeat that, please? Repeat that there. Oh, am I on mute again? No, I'm not.
A person that has are you going to have a person that has CP in your story for kids? Because there's kids that have that too.
CP? Sorry, I'm not.
Yes.
Palsy.
Sorry, it's in cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah,
I just know the initials. Sorry, I didn't know the
word. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I really want to do in the future is work with children and parents who are affected by all these different challenges and different conditions to really get a true understanding. I've already spoken about how the second book, which is going to be coming out towards the end of this year, is going to be about my nephew on my wife's side who passed away towards the end of last year from a condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And with regards to the writing of this book and definitely the illustrations as well, I'm working with my sister-in-law to make sure that it's very authentic. And I think that's really important on all the different challenges that we're going to be talking about within these stories. Because even just, for on the wheelchair side of thing, the impact and the difference that's going to make to so many children is going to be really incredible. Obviously, I spoke at the beginning about the moment I had with Jack today in the school, with him talking about his RP, but we're going to have that so much more with lots of different kids of all different, even things like anxiety. There's so many things that we can cover. And all these things have been amplified by the pandemic. Sorry, what was that thing, Christina?
I said I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wish somebody was like you when I was growing up, because we didn't really have somebody that knew about what I had in the school. So I was pretty well all the things you said in the poem.
Thank you. And kids get it. You know, if it's explained in a way like that, they'll often get it a lot quicker than adults will. So if we can educate them from very early on and normalize these things, it's going to have more of an impact. And then these kids are going to go back and they're going to educate their parents, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Dave, we also spoke about like children in different ethnic groups as well, didn't we? Because I remember saying to you that 100%. I didn't have anyone who had Stargarts when I was growing up, or no one in my school, but then no one who looked like me either. So that was one thing there's so many depths you can dig with this.
Yeah, definitely.
And also just all different eye diseases. There's glaucoma, uveitis, Stargardts. I mean, RP. There's just so many.
Yeah. Deaf blindness. I want to tackle that in the future as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is one.
Nerves. There's people who has optic nerve damage too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people who have Leber's congenital amaurosis.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think there's a lot of a lot that can be done, and I think it's these books are a great platform in order to do that. So I really look forward to seeing where these go.
Is there one that you can listen to?
One what?
One of your books there. If a person can't see, they read it.
Yeah. Sorry. So Austin's Amazing Adventures, for all those people who purchase it via the website, it comes with a free audio version.
Okay.
And we're looking at doing a Braille version in the future as well. But yeah, free audio version.
Awesome.
with every single purchase.
And all your poems should be read by you as well.
Yeah, that's something that we yeah, absolutely. I am there's a lot
of work.
Yeah, a lot of work. Yeah, we got a lot to do.
Good
Barry,
job.
you still there?
Sorry, yes, I am on mute. Yes, sorry, there's a lot of background noise where I am. So yeah, so this has been an incredible afternoon, evening, or morning. Sorry that I was a little bit in and out, but definitely incredible. As always, TM Poetry. I want to thank everyone for joining us. Don't forget to like and share with your friends, family, whoever you feel might benefit from this incredible tribe. All episodes are uploaded to the Blind Poet YouTube channel, which I believe they've been some recent ones have been just uploaded, I should say. And I want to also say one last thing, if I'm just curious if anyone saw today, the Foundation Fighting Blindness put out a social post with an image, and it's got the one and only Dave Steele featured in that post. So I'm just curious if you guys have seen it. If you haven't seen it, go on Instagram. I'm sure it's on Facebook as well. But check out Instagram, Foundation Fighting Blindness, and you will see a really cool picture of Dave Steele. Go ahead, like it and share it as well. And that is all part of Low Vision Awareness Month. So, Dave, I'm going to let you close things out. My phone's about to die. So yeah, okay. If I disappear, you'll understand why.
Okay, guys, listen, we've run over it, but it's been a great hour. I want to thank everyone and hope you'll all come back again next week. Tell a friend. Next week, hopefully, we're going to be doing, fingers crossed, our children's special. So it should be a really interesting conversation next week, but I'm going to leave you with this. Here we go. Today, all the talk of fading sight and anxious mind, I'm choosing not to focus on. I'm leaving them behind. With my shades on, my worries gone. With Cain, I'm out that door. To face the stairs, I feel prepared, whatever lay in store. I'm done with isolation, my exclusion from a life. Today, I'll be the man I am, the husband to my wife, the father to my children, and the hero they all need, instead of just a blind man who through crowds they need to lead. I'll take a break, this vow I make, from blindness need a rest. So for today, these simple things won't feel like they're a test. My mind is set on playing games and laughter with my son. Pretend that we're Avengers, fighting battles till they're won. And though I may not see too well, our imaginations fly, for there's no limitations or of talk of eyes that die. But just like everything in life, today I know will end, but I will still be smiling when the blur and haze descends.
Fantastic. Awesome. I want to wish everyone a wonderful afternoon, evening, or day, wherever they are located, as this is an international group. And saying so long from Baltimore. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everyone,
soon, guys.
for joining, participating, and being interactive.
Have a great week. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you for watching Tea and Poetry, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Join us live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Lanny D. Chesapeake Lighthouse and the Low Vision Shop. If you enjoyed Tea and Poetry, please invite a friend, like, share, and subscribe.